Hi everyone, it's Adriana, and today I'm going to show you how to make pumpkin bento cakes. This first one is a 2D design with a pumpkin piped on top and cream cheese filling on the inside. And this second cake is a 3D pumpkin that has 3 layers of pumpkin cake and is frosted with cream cheese frosting. Now to make these mini pumpkin cakes, you will need cake that is baked in a half sheet pan, and I have some here that is the pumpkin spice flavor from my Calculator app. You are going to need 2 circle cutters for this project, one that is slightly larger than the other by about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch, and that larger cutter is going to be the cake that's for the middle of the pumpkin. The smaller cutter is going to be from the top and the bottom of the pumpkin. So for every pumpkin, you're going to need 2 small pieces of cake and 1 large piece. So what I did is double checked my math to make sure that I got 3 pieces of cake for every pumpkin, and then I just cut all of the circles out first and then moved them one by one to a parchment lined baking sheet so that they'll be ready for assembly. Here I have some cream cheese frosting, and I think that's the best kind of frosting to go with a pumpkin spice cake. If you go on my website, it's called American cream cheese frosting because my cream cheese frosting is based on the American buttercream technique for making frosting. So go ahead and take some of that and fill a piping bag, and we're going to use this to fill the inside of the cake. Then take the remainder of your frosting and place it inside 2 bowls, one with a large amount and one with the small amount. The larger amount is going to be colored orange for the outside of the pumpkin, and the small amount of frosting is going to be colored a brown color for the stem. Alright, let's get ready to assemble these cakes. So I'm going to show you 2 styles of pumpkin, and the first one is the one that's actually shaped like a pumpkin. So we'll start off with a small piece of cake first, apply a little bit of frosting, and then place on a larger piece of cake on top. Add a little bit more of that cream cheese frosting and then place a small piece of cake on top of that. Okay, so for this style of cake, if you plan on packaging it later, it's best to just go ahead and package it now and decorate straight inside the box. So lift up the cake by using the parchment paper and place the mini cake inside. Then you're going to want to grab your orange cream cheese frosting, and I'm using a Wilton 1M tip to kind of mimic the outside of a pumpkin. You can see I have my little model there down on the right hand side. And the best way to do this is to go from the bottom and pull the frosting up to the top. I find that if you try to pull the frosting from the top to the bottom, it's hard to tuck the frosting underneath the pumpkin, but it's much easier to pull the frosting from underneath all the way to the top. So keep doing that until the entire surface area of the cake is covered. So to frost the little stem in the middle of the pumpkin, I like to scoop out a little bit of the orange frosting so it actually looks like the stem is coming out from the middle of the pumpkin. This is a French star tip, so it has a lot of those striations, and then all you have to do is pull up and use a butter knife to slice straight across, and that actually makes it look like a stem. So the second design I'm going to show you is more of a 2D pumpkin rather than the 3D cake that we did before. So you could do this design using the small pieces of cake or large pieces of cake. You can even do this on a huge layer cake if you wanted to. So go ahead and place a piece of cake on some parchment and then pipe some of that plain cream cheese frosting in the middle. Place a piece of cake right on top of that is the same size as the bottom. Go ahead and transport your cake into your container using the parchment paper. Okay, basically the same design, just 2D like I said. So use the orange frosting, and it kind of looks like a heart, and pipe some lines from the top to the bottom on about 80% of the cake. Then to create your stem, use the same green frosting to pull up from the top. This design is really good for people who don't want a lot of frosting on their cake. Now for these cakes, I was doing a bit of experimentation with my cream cheese frosting. If you happen to use the one on my website, your piping is going to be a lot cleaner than what you see here. Just make sure if you use any kind of cream cheese frosting to refrigerate to make sure that it stays nice and fresh. Happy baking, everyone!